Listen closely, because what you're about to hear might quietly undo everything you've been taught about connection, attention, and value. Slow, low tone, slight pause after closely. You were told that consistency earns respect. Firm tone, that if you show up again and again, give your time freely, open your emotions, and stay loyal no matter what, people will see you, appreciate you, and choose you. Steady pace, slight emphasis on choose you. But look at what actually happens. Pause, shift to serious tone. The more you give, the less it seems to matter. Slow, emphasis on less. The more available you are, the less urgency they feel. Measured tone. The more you stay, the easier it becomes for them to take you for granted. Slight pause at end. And that contradiction, that silent betrayal of everything you believed, is where most people start to feel confused. Deep tone, slow pacing. Because no one told you this part. Pause. Human nature doesn't attach itself to what is always there. Calm, controlled tone. It attaches itself to what feels uncertain, what feels like it might disappear. Emphasize uncertain and disappear. Think about it. Short pause. Right now, you might not be someone they chase. Neutral tone. You've become someone they've figured out. Someone they can predict. Someone they can rely on without effort. Slight downward tone. They know you'll respond. Soft emphasis. They know you'll forgive. They know you won't walk away. Slight pause. And once that certainty settles in, something inside them relaxes. Not in a good way, but in a careless way. A way that removes the need to try. Slow, deliberate delivery. It's not that you don't matter. It's that you became too easy to access. Firm, clear emphasis. There's an old principle, not built on kindness, but on reality, that control is never about force. It's about perception, timing, and distance. Authoritative tone. When someone is always within reach, always available, always predictable, they slowly lose their weight in the eyes of others. Slow, reflective. But when access becomes limited, when presence is no longer guaranteed, everything shifts. Slight rise in intensity. Not immediately, not dramatically, but quietly, deeply. Slow, spaced delivery. At first, nothing happens. Pause. Then there's a pause. Then a thought. Then a question. Build rhythm, slight pause between lines. And that's where it begins. Low tone. Because silence, when used correctly, speaks louder than explanation ever could. Emphasize silence. Distance, when it's real, creates more emotion than constant presence ever will. Steady emphasis. This isn't about playing games. It's about understanding dynamics that most people ignore until it's too late. Firm tone. Power isn't loud. It doesn't beg. It doesn't chase attention. Short pauses between sentences. Power is controlled absence. Slow, strong emphasis. And once you understand that, your entire approach changes. Pause. You stop trying to prove your worth and start protecting it. Calm but firm. It begins with something simple but uncomfortable. Slight pause. You remove unlimited access. Clear emphasis. Not aggressively. Not with announcements. Just quietly. Soft, controlled delivery. You stop being instantly reachable. You stop responding out of habit. You stop treating your time like it belongs to everyone else. Consistent rhythm. Because when someone knows they can reach you at any moment, your presence loses its impact. Explanatory tone. It becomes normal, then expected, then overlooked. Gradual emphasis. Think of something as essential as air. It's everywhere, always available, and yet no one notices it until it's restricted. Slight storytelling tone. Your attention works the same way. Pause. When it flows endlessly, it becomes invisible. Soft emphasis. So you change the pattern. Firm. Not to punish anyone, but to reset your own position. Balanced tone. You reply when it makes sense for you. You engage when it aligns with your focus. You stop revolving your world around someone else's availability. Steady rhythm. At first, it feels strange. Almost like you're doing something wrong. Empathetic tone. Because you've been conditioned to equate availability with importance. Slight emphasis. But slowly something shifts. Pause. They start noticing delays. They start questioning patterns. They start paying attention. Build intensity slightly. Not because you demanded it, but because you removed certainty. Firm. And certainty is what kills curiosity. Strong emphasis. Which brings you to the next shift. Transition pause. You stop being predictable. Clear, direct. Because the moment someone can fully read you, they stop thinking about you. Measured tone. Predictability creates comfort, and comfort removes tension. Steady delivery. Without tension, there is no curiosity. And without curiosity, attention fades. Slow emphasis. Most people don't lose value because they lack something. They lose it because they've become too easy to understand. Reflective tone. Every response is expected. Every reaction is familiar. Every move follows a pattern. Rhythmic delivery. There's nothing left to discover. Pause. So you break that rhythm. Firm. Not randomly, but intentionally. Emphasis on intentionally. You don't always respond the same way. You don't always react emotionally. You don't always follow the script they've memorized. Steady cadence. Sometimes you're present. Sometimes you're distant. Sometimes you're silent when words are expected. Controlled pacing. And suddenly, they can't place you anymore. Slight tension. And when someone can't categorize you, they start observing you. Calm intensity. More closely. More carefully. Short pauses. Because the mind is drawn to what it cannot fully solve. Low tone. That's where intrigue begins. Pause. Not from effort, but from uncertainty. Soft emphasis. Then comes a move that most people get wrong. Transition tone. They try to create distance, but they announce it. Slight emphasis. They explain their silence. They justify their absence. They turn withdrawal into a performance. Slight build-up. And the moment they do that, the effect disappears. Firm drop. Because mystery cannot exist where everything is explained. Clear emphasis. True absence doesn't speak. Slow. It just happens. Pause. You don't say you need space. You don't warn anyone. You don't create a dramatic exit. Calm delivery. You simply step back. Firm, slow. And let silence do what words never could. Soft intensity. Because when there is no explanation, the other person is left alone with their thoughts. Measured tone. And the mind doesn't like empty space. Slight emphasis. It fills it. Pause. With questions. With assumptions. With emotions. Rhythmic emphasis. Why did they go quiet? Did something change? Did I lose them? Slight rise in curiosity. And those questions, they create something powerful. Pause. Attention. Strong emphasis. Not because you asked for it, but because they created it themselves. Calm clarity. But here's where most people fail. Serious tone. They break their own silence. Firm. They check in too early. They look for reactions. They explain out of discomfort. Steady pacing. And in that moment, everything resets. Pause. Because now your absence looks like a tactic, not a standard. Clear emphasis. Real power requires discipline. Strong tone. The ability to stay quiet, even when you're curious. The ability to hold distance, even when it feels uncomfortable. Controlled delivery. Because that space, that silence, is where your value rebuilds. Slow emphasis. Then comes something even deeper. Transition. You don't just create physical distance. Calm tone. You create emotional scarcity. Emphasis. Because someone can lose your presence and still feel like they have you. Measured. If you continue to reassure them, validate them, emotionally support them on demand, nothing really changes. Steady. They still feel secure. They still feel in control. Slight pause. So you shift. Firm. You stop giving emotional energy freely. Clear. Not out of coldness, but out of awareness. Balanced tone. You don't validate everything. You don't react to everything. You don't provide constant reassurance. Consistent pacing. And suddenly, they feel it. Pause. The absence of something they didn't realize they depended on. Low tone. And that absence creates tension. Emphasis. Because now they have to work for what was once freely given. Steady. And people always value what requires effort. Firm. Then you take it even further. Transition. You stop explaining yourself. Direct. You stop over-clarifying your actions. Calm. You allow uncertainty to exist. Soft emphasis. Because the more you explain, the less they think about you. Measured. And attention only grows where there are unanswered questions. Clear. When everything is clear, the mind moves on. Pause. But when something feels incomplete, it lingers. Slight emphasis. It loops. It replays. Rhythmic. And that's how you stay in someone's thoughts without doing anything at all. Calm conclusion tone. But all of this, all these shifts, lead to one final truth. Slow build. None of it works if you're still emotionally attached to the outcome. Firm. If you're still waiting for their message. Still hoping they notice. still needing their reaction. Slight rise. Then nothing has really changed. Pause. Because the real power isn't in what you do. Calm. It's in what you no longer need. Strong emphasis. Detachment. Pause. Strong. Not distance. Not silence. Not strategy. Short pauses. Detachment. Repeat with emphasis. The moment you stop needing someone's validation, they lose their influence over you. Steady. And that changes everything. Firm. You don't react the same way. You don't chase clarity. You don't depend on their behavior to feel stable. Even pacing. You become steady with or without them. Calm. And that stability, it's rare. Pause. It's felt. Soft emphasis. Because most people operate from need. Measured. And need is always visible. Firm. But when you act from choice instead of need, your entire presence changes. Slight rise. You're no longer trying to be valued. Calm. You simply are. Strong, slow. And people sense that. Pause. They notice the difference. They feel the shift. Steady. Because now, there's nothing to control. Low tone. No emotional strings. No predictable reactions. Clear. And when someone realizes they can't control you, pause. They start losing control of themselves. Emphasis. They think more. They try more. They invest more. Building rhythm. Because the dynamic has flipped. Firm. You're no longer chasing their attention. Calm. They're drawn into yours. Slight emphasis. But here's the part no one talks about. Serious tone. Detachment isn't easy. Clear. It forces you to sit with yourself. Slow. Without distractions. Without validation. Without external reassurance. Rhythmic. And if your sense of worth isn't strong, it feels uncomfortable. Empathetic. That's why most people go back. Pause. They reconnect too soon. They break their own silence. They return to old patterns. Steady. Because being alone with yourself requires strength. Firm. But if you hold that position, pause. If you stay grounded, pause. Something powerful happens. Slight rise. You become stable. Strong. Not cold. Not distant. Just controlled. Balanced tone. You feel, but you're not ruled by it. You care, but you're not dependent. Steady. And that balance, that quiet control, is what creates real presence. Slow emphasis. Because now, your attention is a choice. Your time is selective. Your energy is earned. Clear rhythm. And when that becomes real, not forced, not performed. Pause. People feel it. Soft. At first, they might not react. They might even feel comfortable. Calm. But slowly. Pause. They notice the silence. They feel the absence. They recognize the difference. Gradual build. And that's when it hits. Pause. Not loudly. Not dramatically. Soft. But deeply. Strong emphasis. Because what was once always there is no longer guaranteed. Slow. And when something is no longer guaranteed, it becomes valuable. Firm. That's the shift. Pause. Not in who you are, but in how you allow yourself to be accessed. Clear. You don't become important by giving more. Steady. You become important by being less available. Strong emphasis. Most people spend their lives trying to be liked, trying to be understood, trying to be accepted. Rhythmic. But the ones who are remembered, the ones who are respected. Slight build. They understand something different. Pause. They understand timing. They understand distance. They understand when to step back and let silence carry their presence. Calm intensity. Because in the end, pause. People don't chase what is always there. Slow. They chase what they feel they might lose. Final strong emphasis.